What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here, Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty. K-State grad turned contractor turned real estate agent and investor. Today, I have a very special guest with me for another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. I've got Renee Soberano here with Luminet Home Loans. And Renee, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Renee, off camera, we've talked a lot, and obviously we have a relationship probably in the last 9 years. I think I've known you. I met you at my first home show many moons ago. Let's talk about this. You went from local girl to leaving town and coming back. So talk to me about that.
So yeah, I grew up here in Manhattan, went to high school here, went to college here for a bit, and then married military, moved around quite a bit, back and forth, and then ended up in Colorado. Started my banking career in Colorado, and after a few years at the bank, left and became an individually licensed mortgage lender. And then family things, had a father pass away, wanted to get closer to my mother, so moved back home and started my career here in Kansas about 10 years ago now.
So pretty close then to when I ran into you at the home show.
Exactly.
All right, awesome. So you started in the banking world, went through that whole process and switched over to an independent mortgage. Tell us about what is most people think of a lender and they think of that stuff of it. What is the difference between a bank lender and an independent mortgage broker?
Mainly the standards we're held to. So as a banker, background and fingerprints get you your mortgage license. So you can work underneath the bank's umbrella and be a lender. So the same thing that the person who answers the telephone at the bank has to do to work at the bank is the same thing you have to do to be a mortgage lender. To be individually licensed, we have to go out and take so many hours of classes and then pass a nationwide test and then state tests and be licensed in every single state we operate in. So it's just held to a higher standard, and then our continuing education. I have to do continuing education that the National Mortgage Licensing System puts out for us every single year. As a banker, the bank gets to decide what you do. So whether that may be just lost control and you don't learn anything about mortgages, or it could be all about mortgages, but it's what the bank decides. So we're just held to a higher standard and our testing regulations, and I'm also able to be unfortunately sued for where if somebody else goes, they're going to sue the bank. So we have to know our ins and outs a lot more and be a lot more accurate on our stuff.
So I'm going to ask this question. Why that route versus the coming back to Manhattan and getting on with the bank?
The freedom we have. So as a mortgage lender, I have my own office. I set my own hours. I'm available to my customers. Working from a bank, some will not let you take your work home, or you have to be there between 8 and 5, things like that. I had a son in lots of sports, and I was going to travel and not miss anything, and I haven't. But also just the control of coming and going as I want from the office, setting up my appointments. I can work on a Saturday if I want and take Monday off. So I've got all those things. And I answer my phone at 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday if I need to.
And especially when I call, of course, right?
Of course.
And I have put her to the test. She does answer it at most hours of the day. So that's perfect. So that now we know kind of why. Talk to us a little bit about what you can offer as your Luminet, right? Like, what do you offer with home loans, commercial loans? What does that look like for you? And kind of talk about your product.
Luminet's really kind of unique. We have just a couple owners, and they actually on the other side own a bank that's a sister bank. So when I've had things that somebody can't get a house sold, they can't get a bridge loan, things like that, I can call a banker and get that done on a different side, and then still continuing to get our loans closed. So that's one of our major things that we have, is that benefit there. My lending, love VA loans all day long. My favorites, FHA, USDA, conventional. We have 3% down conventional. We've got the Kansas Housing Resource Grant, which I'm a big on. Kyle and I've done quite a few of those together. They're sometimes not fun, but they do give up to 20% assistance to the buyer. So it's an amazing program. A lot of people don't want to mess with it because of the paperwork, and Kyle and I'll get through them. We'll do them all day long.
So true.
So we have all the lending products. I've got unique stuff of 2-1 buy downs. We can do some unique things there and help people get better rates or qualify for homes they might not necessarily qualify for at the current market rates. So just being creative and thinking outside the box. And then again, I've got an amazing team behind me as well that does all the background stuff and paperwork. really amazing. So it takes a great team to get us through, and we close loans.
I love it. I love it. So, and I can attest to that too, by the way. I put her through the ringer on a lot of them too, where it's like, hey, I got an issue. Let's get through this one. She handles it very well. So I always appreciate you on that side of it too. So let's talk about your why, your passion, right? So why do you do this? Because we all know that this can be very stressful and very, how's the nice way to put it? A pain in the ass sometimes, but we get through it every day. So why do you do what you do?
When I worked at the bank, we only offered HELOCs and jumbos. So I got into doing HELOCs and I really loved it. I just didn't have a team behind me as in management that knew anything about them. So they couldn't teach me and I couldn't learn. So that was my first starting point, loving helping people get into homes or accessing that equity in their home and being able to use it to better themselves, buy more properties, or using equity to do improvements on their home, things like that. I just really love helping people get into homes, especially if I can save them money. And then I like to teach them how to also what you can do and making using it as leverage. So you can use your primary residence as leverage to gain more homes. You can continue to buy homes as primary residences and turn them into rentals. So all that kind of stuff, and just teaching people how to do it. I love teaching people if they're willing to listen.
And I mean, you do an excellent job at that too. I mean, so teaching people how to build wealth through real estate is kind of one of your, and being creative with it too. I think that's one of the things I love about what you're able to do is, one, we talked about all the different products that you have, right? But actually teaching them how to utilize them and working on all that stuff, even from credit repair to, doing those jumbo loans. I love that. I love that part about you, right? Because you want to help people. I think that's the big piece of it, right? So, okay, fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about what you like to do, right? Again, we've talked about every facet, right? You've got the FHA, 3% down, normal conventionals, everything else that you can do. And this isn't all she does, but what do you like to do and why?
VAs are probably my favorite. I love helping our service members, retired service members, surviving spouses of service members. Wow. I've done a loan for someone whose husband had passed away in war many years ago. I've actually done 2 VA loans for her. I love VA loans. We're sitting in the right area for it. Getting those soldiers for where we're at, getting those guys into homes and teaching them that they don't have to sell that house to buy another. They don't have to wait until they get out of the Army to use their VA certificate of eligibility. You can use it over and over. You can turn that house into a rental and use your certificate of eligibility to buy another. Things like that other people don't take the time to learn is part of what I love doing, but also helping young people get into homes. I've also done a couple K-State kids that are going to school and working part-time jobs, helping them get into a home, whether it's a duplex so that they have rental income to offset some of that not working as much, being part-time or being in school, or helping them buy a single family home and helping them get into that. Just the younger they start, the more wealth they can grow before they get to our age, retire at our age, or even retire early, or just make real estate your asset, and then you can just live off of it and travel.
I'm ready to retire and travel.
I want the money to continue, but travel.
Right. No, that's again, I think that's one of the things that I really do appreciate with what you do is that you are creative with how you get it done, right? If it's not I can't get it done or anything that way, it's like this is how we get it done, and then if we can't get through those steps, well, that's a different story. So, but that's one of the beauties of it, I think, for what you're able to do within this industry and within your business, and that's been so. Again, I appreciate you for that. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, let's say somebody watching this right now is curious on what they can do. What's the process look like from reaching out to you to actually closing on the house?
So when you start, I send you a link to my app. It's a mobile app. You can have it on your phone. Some people, like me, like to be on a computer more so. It's tangent. You can go back and forth. You fill out that application. That's my starting point. I'm busy, as Kyle is. We don't like to waste our time with the 1,000 questions of what ifs, because until I have that application in, what ifs are just scenarios. So I want that in. We do soft credit pulls, so there is no hard hit on your credit to begin with. If there's any issues there, I can tell you how to fix them so that when we do a hard pull, we know you're good to go. And then I want a full packet in. I want your income docs, your asset docs, and driver's license, those things to verify who you are before we get moving. That way I do a complete full pre-approval for you. We also are doing complete underwriting pre-approvals, and we've been doing that for the last 2 years now. I guess it's coming on 3 years, with a $15,000 guarantee behind our pre-approvals. So when you go to make an offer on a property, your offer's just as good as cash, because if we don't close on time due to our error, we're going to go ahead and pay that seller $15,000, which is almost better than a cash deal backing out and they have nothing when they're putting their house back on the market. So I do a full, huge process. In between there, from that pre-approval, I'm going to bring you into my office. We're going to sit down. I'm going to give you a drink and a snack, butter you up a little bit, but we're going to go over how I work, who my team is, and introduce you to them by picture, and introduce you to my team who's going to help get your file to the closing table. I set my expectations for you and my team's expectations, and I want to hear what yours are. I want to know what you want, because this is tailored to my buyers. It's not like buying, a TV where you just go into Best Buy or wherever and go get a TV, or going to buy a car even. This is a huge, huge purchase, probably the largest one you're going to make in your life. So I want to make sure we tailor our experience to you. And then we get all that set and we go over all that. And at the end, we show you your loan options, different programs you can qualify for, what I would recommend you do. And then it's on you to tell me what you want to do. And then I turn you loose with Kyle to go find your house.
Perfect. So you actually brought something up there. So you have a product, and you kind of touched on a little bit, but let's talk about the Lightspeed pre-approval and what that is and why that's different than somebody else's pre-approval.
Okay, so a lot of banks do a qualification. A pre-qualification means you fill out the application, they've done at least a soft pull on your credit. That's all they have to have. They don't verify your income, they don't verify your assets. They're not worth their weight in water at all. So I've seen many people fall out, and I've rescued a few of those for different people around town having to fix other big banks' mistakes for not figuring that out. And those are usually your online lenders, or some of the old-fashioned banks still operate that way. I'm doing that full pre-approval and sending it to my underwriter. The difference is my underwriters checked your credit and checked your income and verified all those things, and we know you qualify. It just is way better. A lot of people do a pre-approval, which is still doing those two things, but an underwriter hasn't reviewed it. The two things it does for us, the underwriter does not, unless so many days pass, does not have to re-review that income. They're going to just check a next pay stub to verify your income has not changed and move on. Where if we don't have that underwriting pre-approval, it can take a few more days in underwriting. My underwriters once you've been pre-approved and you get with that Lightspeed and you get under contract, my underwriters usually will have you turned around in 24 hours, because then all they're looking at is your assets and the home at that point. And
I'm a testament to that too, right? The biggest difference with that is that you have somebody who's digging deep into it, and I know it's a lot going in up front, but you're getting a lot of that front load work done versus having to do it all at the back end. And I think that's probably the biggest difference with for the buyer side of it, right? And from what I see on the real estate side of
and
it,
I think it lets the buyer concentrate on the home inspections and everything that the realtor, Kyle, is going to be giving them to do, and they have to concentrate on that. So they're not getting pulled in all different directions and just overwhelmed. It's a very big process. It's overwhelming to begin with. So if I've got my stuff out of the way and we're just asking for a couple updates, much easier than trying to get a full packet at that time when you're getting overwhelmed with home inspection, termite inspection, and appraisal and all that kind of stuff.
And I think that's the beauty of what you guys are able to do there. So, okay, so what is somebody watching this video, what is the best way to get a hold of you? Let's say they want to start the process, they want to get going. What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So you can find me at my web address is www.reneeloans.com, or my cell phone, 785-410-4157. If you call me after 8 o'clock at night, you're going to go to my voicemail, but I will call you back. Or you can text me, whatever works best for you. But my web address will lead you straight to my loan application, which again is the first starting point. I would love, we can talk before you fill that out, but I'm still going to make you fill it out before I get very far. Or you can shoot me a text message saying, hey, send me a link to your app. I can do that. You can call me, we can chat. Whatever works best for the buyer, and I will work with you.
Perfect. So again, Renee, thank you so much for dropping in with me today. Anything else before we kind of wrap this up and get out of here?
No, I think we did a lot. We're working on talking about Airbnb properties over here. So anybody looking for those lake properties in Arkansas, Missouri, we've got you covered.
Well, actually, that brings up a good point. You know, I know you're local here to Manhattan, but where do you cover? What areas do you cover?
I'm now licensed in, I believe, 48 states. So if I'm not licensed there, I do have a teammate who is, and I will get you in touch with them. But if you're looking to buy anywhere in the U.S., I will help you.
Perfect. So, Renee, thank you so much for coming in. I don't need to shake your hand. Thank you so much for coming in today. I really do appreciate it. You guys, thank you for watching. I really do want to say thank you so much. Renee does an excellent job. And so if you do, please reach out to her. If you know somebody who's interested in looking at the loan process and all that stuff, there is a lot of work up front, but it is worth it, and it makes you a very solid loan, makes you a very solid buyer when you get to that point of wanting to make an offer onto something. So please share this video with them. Please take a look at it yourself. Reach out to Renee. Put it in the comments below if you have any questions for us. And as always, if you guys do enjoy this content, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you're notified of any future content. Give us that like because it does help us grow the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next week as we go to another wonderful episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. Thanks for watching.